Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the 208th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your host, Steve Wellings, and joining me this evening we have Adam Smith, Hater Dave Lowback, Andy Patterson, and Ryan Scalia. Now, I hope you all had a Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah to Dave, all those type of good things. We're back, pumped up, ready for another new season of boxing action. We managed to scrape together a panel. We've scraped together some talking points as well. We're going to go straight over to Japan very shortly before moving off into the likes of DeGale, Jack, bit of Yuri Foreman, and then our fights that we're looking forward to for 2017, all the stuff that's already been signed, as well as fights that haven't been made yet, looking at a few prospects as such, or ones that we want to watch in 2017. Just basically winging it as we go along, guys. I know that we've had a few questions come in on the Facebook page and on the Twitter as well, so we'll hopefully get through a few of those and dig up some old questions that have been sitting on my phone for months on end. Either way, we shall get about 90 minutes or so at least out of the way. Now, I'm not really the aficionado of the Japanese stuff. We were hoping that our friend Marcus Bellinger off Twitter could be joining us. I have sent him the link, so hopefully he will jump on at some point. In the meantime, Andy will hopefully start us off with the Ohashi Promotions card on Friday the 13th of December from the Ariake Coliseum, where Naoya Inoue or whatever you call him, apparently there's some kind of arguments going over the pronunciation, but either way, he knocked out Koi Kono for the WBO World Super Flyweight title. Also, Akira Yayagashi knocked out Witawasa Basapian. I hope I'm getting all these pronunciations right, Andy. First of all, Inoue, I'm liking the look of this guy. HBO apparently are taking a look at him. Max Kellerman's mentioned they want to get him in with Chocolatito Gonzalez at some point. The thing I liked about him in this fight was we know that he can box going forward and he's very aggressive and he punches hard, but he let this Kono, who's a very experienced campaigner, come to him and showed a different side to his boxing game before knocking him out.
He did, mate. I still think that's one of his main flaws. Actually, is probably when he's backing up on the back foot. He kind of like fight off the back foot. But he was showing signs of it. Obviously, the ending came as he was backing off. I think it was 3 rapid left hooks, one in the chin. I think the last one really just kind of hit him at the tempo point and put him down. Very impressive performance, especially beating a guy like Kono. The guy's always been tough, rugged. If you go back and watch his fight against Libero Solis, which I recommended to a listener last night, you see that the guy's tough as nails, and it took someone special to kind of to knock him out. I know that there's a lot of Japanese fights we can discuss. If there's one fighter alone that I was really impressed by, was probably the Kosei Tanaka fight when he fought Moses Fuentes, but we'll get onto that in a wee bit. But see, just to kind of lay on about the Chocolatito talk, I know wish Donnie was here actually, but he's not. But I think we're now at a point. This is obviously, it's probably the fight for the aficionados or the hipsters, if you want to say, in the sport of boxing at the minute. There's a window now for this fight, and I think if it doesn't happen by, say, December this year, which usually the Japanese usually have a kind of card on about that time, or if it doesn't happen in America, it's not going to happen. I think we're going to see Gonzalez potentially having 2 fights and maybe even retiring. Inoue's, there always has been the question mark about his hands being potentially brittle. It looks like there's been no problems in this fight, which is good news. But the weight issue as well, you just don't know if Inoue can, as he keeps growing. I mean, he's only, 23, 24, maybe slightly younger than that. Still growing. He might be forced to move up to bantamweight at some point. So, but it's good. There's some good options there. Obviously, Gonzalez, his next opponent's going to be get mentioned soon. But if anything, whoever it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be a big name. It's probably going to be his mandatory against the Thai fighters at Sirasat, Song Ring Uveze. Tough fighter, good come forward fighter. Give Kudras a lot of problems until the stoppage of the cut. Some good fights happen at super flyweight. It's one of the best divisions just now in the sport. But I don't know how we're going to work out with this Inoue fight. Hopefully it happens sometime this year, but I'm getting my doubts. And if it doesn't happen this year, we aren't going to get it at all.
Ryan, just before you speak on Inoue, just a word for Kono. Tough guy, 36 now. This was his 10th loss in his career, first by stoppage. Just looking down his record, I used to watch the Japanese stuff back in the 2000s. I remember guys like Nobuo Noshiro, who's on Kono's record. Koki Kameda's on there as well, Concepcion. There's quite a few names that even I would know. Do you think Kono, there's a future for him as such, or maybe after so many hard fights at the lower weights, he should think about hanging them up soon?
I think he's going to retire. I mean, especially in Japan, they tend to retire at the right moments, especially coming off losses. there's actually like a thing in Japan where it's kind of like honorable to retire off a loss as opposed to a win. I don't know where it comes from. It's just, something in the fight culture there, and they don't tend to like stick around and get beat up for too long. And for Kono, that was the first time he's ever been stopped, and because he's had such a long career, he's fought a lot of guys, and that was against Naoya Inoue, one of the best in the world right now. So it took him that long to get stopped. It really says something about him. I mean, his nickname is Tough Boy, and that's pretty much what he's been his whole career. But yeah, I think he'll probably retire. As for Inui, yeah, obviously it was impressive performance to be the first guy to stop Kono. It's just some of the concerns are the way he shells up and backing up in straight lines. I think against better guys, that's where he would really be exploited against the likes of like Quadras, Gallo, Chocolatito. But I do agree about the window on the Chocolatito fight happening, because I mean everyone's saying that Inui's struggling with the weight and that he's going to move up eventually. And I don't think the Chocolatito fight's ever going to happen, to be honest, because obviously there's Chocolatito's probably going to fight Sri Saket Sorung Visai, and then the Quadras rematch, probably because that's what HBO will want. And then Gallo's still there waiting for that rematch. I think by the end of the year, Inui will have moved up, probably. So if there's a moment to make the fight, like it should be like right now or before the end of the year. But I have a hard time seeing it happening, especially because I think Inui's people know it's like a really huge risk to take against Chocolatito, especially with the way he shells up on the inside. I mean, I think Chocolatito would be all over him on the inside. So I don't know if Inui's people want to take that type of risk. I mean, they don't have to like go to America or anything. They can just stay in Japan and move up to bantamweight and fight for that WBO. So I just don't see that fight happening right now, unfortunately.
Surely, though, Ryan, do you not think that, from Inui's point of view, the fact he's only 24, could he not look at fighting Gonzalez for the big bucks, knowing that if he puts in any way of a credible performance and doesn't get the win, his ceiling is higher career-wise, and that he can come again and rebuild again? Or do the Japanese not think that way?
I think a lot might depend on this upcoming Chocolatito against Sri Saket fight, because I think Sri Saket's going to give him a war, and it's going to be a pretty hard fight. And Chocolatito may be slipping a bit. We don't know, coming off that war against Quadras. He's pretty old for the lighter weight classes, and he gets fat between fights. So we don't know if Chocolatito might have peaked already. So maybe if the Sri Saket fight, Roman has another war, maybe the Inui people will fancy the fight more. But I mean, especially with the Quadras fight, Chocolatito and HBO wanting that, I just have a hard time Inui fight happening, because like the Quadras rematch is bigger than an Inui fight for HBO.
I'm not sure what the appetite in Japan will be for Inoue to make it over to America. I think, as Ryan said, I think he might be reasonably safe in Japan. A couple of defences move up. He's only young, and is obviously going to be the star man over there. Just a left field one, really. If Gonzalez is tied up with age, mandatories, or fear, I would like to see Inoue versus Quadras. I know it's maybe a daft idea given the rematch possibilities, but I think that would be an excellent fight and a good stepping stone for Inoue.
They're all chasing the big money fight, which is Gonzalez.
But is it big money though?
Well, it is. He's got the HBO exposure.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean,
everybody's calling him out. Nietes called him out. Estrada, Quadras is mentioned. The only person that doesn't seem to mention really much calling him out is Inoue.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's the appetite from Inoue.
The problem is, though, is that there's no precedent for putting Chocolatito in the. Or actually, maybe they did have him as the main event. No, they didn't.
I've never had him as a main event.
Yeah, he's been a Golovkin undercard fighter every time, and I mean, you can't get guys over from Japan on undercard money. It's just not going to happen. So I think that they need to bring Inoue over for a fight. I mean, HBO needs to get him now. Now, in terms of what the parties have actually said, Inoue said that, or his manager said that he was ready. Gonzalez has talked about how he doesn't think, that the money will be there from HBO to take the Inoue fight or whatever. I personally think it's the other way around. I mean, Inoue is so young and strong, and he's only 24 years old. And like people have been saying just now, Gonzalez being 30 is pretty old for weights, at those lower weights. Super flyweight. I mean, I think that this is the sort of the perfect time, especially coming off a war with Quadras. And if the next fight, if he's in, if that's a tough fight too, I mean, I think they gotta jump on that. And I think Inoue should try to take the short money, come over here and beat him, and maybe he'll be the new next HBO darling, right? And they get set up with a rematch or that. But I think that the whole world is open to him. And Inoue should probably come over and take a shot at it, knowing that even if it doesn't work out, he's still going to continue to be a huge draw in Japan. But I think she should at least give it a go.
Our friend Marcus has jumped on the call. Marcus, welcome to the Nuthouse. Thanks for jumping on this Sunday evening. We're just talking Inoue Kono. Just before you talk about the fight itself, just regarding a potential fight with Gonzalez, we're all wondering about Gonzalez at the moment. I think HBO want to put him in maybe in the rematch with Quadras. I'm not sure Okuni is on that one at the moment. I know that in the past he's had pretty inflated monetary demands, maybe not taking into the account the fact that he's at such a lower weight. Do you see Gonzalez Inoue happening at any point in the near future? Marcus?
It looks like he's chatting away to Silver, but I can't hear him.
But we can't hear you.
Marcus, we can't hear you, mate, if you can hear us.
Now he's on mute.
Who muted him then?
Right, Marcus, unmute yourself and try and say something to us, will you?
No, nothing.
No, we can't hear you. Right, Marcus, you try and get that fixed up as quickly as you can, and we'll get you back on. While we wait to try and get the tech bods working out Marcus's sound problems. Not quite sure what's going on there. We're going to flex over to the Shimatsu Arena. Saturday the 31st of December. Was Promotions. I'm liking that one. Was Promotions. Jonathan Guzman, the beast himself, Andy. He puts his money into the holdall and tries to take it on the plane. Not this time he won't. He got beaten by Yukinori Okuni. Did you see it? Was it a fair result, do you think?
He won Bill of the Week for that, actually. He fucking really did. That fight, sorry, you're talking about Ogunu and Guzman. I watched it today, actually, or was it last night? I think, I didn't know what my scorecard was, actually. Was it that fight? 2 seconds. Fucking things are all over the place here.
Yeah, it was for the IBF Super Bantamweight title, that one, Andy. Oguni against Guzman. Guzman undefeated in 2022.
Aye, that's the one I... Yeah, I seen it. I think I had Ogunu winning 115, 112. I think there was a knockdown, actually. Guzman got dropped in the third round by a brutal left hook to the bottom rib, actually. It was a brutal shot, and he did pretty well to get up on his feet. I think there was another knockdown in the 11th round that wasn't called, actually. I think the ref believed it was a low blow, but if you looked at it in slow motion, it was a really good left hand to the pit of the stomach, and it should have been called a knockdown. It was pretty close going into the final rounds and stuff. It was got a lot of swing rounds in there. It was, it was a bit like that other fight we got. See all these names and that's all place now. I'll come back to me anyways. It was a closest fight. I would say 115, 112, maybe even slightly closer than that, but I think the right man got the result.
And you were mentioning on the undercard, weren't you, just before we try and bring Marcus back in, flyweight, Kazuto Ioka, was he the guy you were bigging up earlier? I'm starting to get a bit confused on them all now.
Ioka, yeah, I mean, he was the one who, when he was coming through, I think he'd won a world title for a unification fight against Shigashi in his 6th pro fight or something, like minimum weight, and then went up to light flyweight, and he was getting really touted until
Andy, you sound like shit, dude.
Andy's gone a bit robot on us. We're having the same gremlins are hitting us hard. Ryan, save me with your new sultry tones with this new microphone that you've got. A bit of Okuni Guzman or a bit of Ioka Kayenza. Can we hear you okay?
Yeah, so the Oguni Guzman fight, that was a huge upset because like Guzman was like a big punching knockout artist, and Oguni had never really shown anything that he could compete at this level, and yet he was able to use his boxing ability to win probably like 7 rounds or so, plus the knockdown and a missed knockdown. So it was a huge upset. Just didn't seem to have the stamina to really keep up with him, and yeah, Oguni just outboxed him. Really took the championship rounds as well, and got a big upset when I don't think anyone saw that one coming. Then Ioka against Stamp Katniwat. That was a pretty good fight because Ioka went down, I believe, in the 3rd round, and Stamp kept coming, but then Ioka started to pick him apart and stuff. And Stamp is only 18 years old. He's been a pro since he was 15. So I mean, you can probably expect to see more of Stamp in the future.
Yeah, just going to bring Andy and hopefully he sounds okay. Andy, we were talking about Ioka. I was calling his opponent Yuthana Kayenza, as is his name on BoxRec. As Ryan called him Stamp Kiatniwat. I think this is another case of these sponsor names, is it, Andy, that's going on?
Aye, BoxRec. So does it sound okay, aye?
Yep.
Don't know what's going on there. Stamp Kiatniwat. Yeah, I've noticed a few of the Thai names, or all the Thai names are getting changed to the real names, I believe. It was a good fight, as Ryan says, or as getting to the point, as it was only 18-year-old laddie, and I just think that the experience of Ioka going down there as that fight went on actually just proved, in the end, obviously he's fighting a young laddie, basically. He's basically fighting there, so tough fight. Well, who else? I'm just going through BoxRec on this other one. Murata, I think he looked okay. Harara, I didn't see that fight. Is it that Ryo? Is it Matsumoto? That was a good fight. That was a rematch. That was a good one. And that Koke Inoue, which I think is Nayu's cousin. I think no, his brother. Yeah. That was a good impressive performance as well on that undercard.
Yeah, just looking at the WAS promotions undercard, this is typical Japanese stuff. Now, I know a lot of the Thai guys have had kickboxing experience, so they're maybe not as inexperienced as they look. But at super flyweight, Sho Ishida, who's 22-0, beat on his debut. Now, I'm going to try and say this as best I can. Petchamnung Sri Sakatapatana. This was the guy's debutant up against the 22-0 guy. I'm assuming, Ryan, just very briefly, that's a case this guy's experienced in maybe a different form of martial arts.
Probably. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes because they they change their names so often, switching gyms and switching sponsors and stuff like that. Oftentimes, like, guys will go pro in boxing, and sometimes they just get shipped out as like opponents and stuff like that. And or something like Srisaket Swarungbisai fought Akira Yagashi in his pro debut, and he actually started off his pro career like with a 1-3 record. He had some losses in Japan, but then like a Thai promoter brought him in as a sparring partner, and actually he thought Srisaket was pretty good, so then he built Srisaket up, and at one point got him world title in the Quadras fight and all that. So it's pretty tricky with the Thai guys. Like, I mean, in this case, this guy that fought Sho Ishida just got shipped out there as an opponent.
It's quite a remarkable situation. Before we go on to Corrales, I'm going to give Marcus another sound check. Marcus, how are you sounding now? Can we hear you? If you want to unmute yourself and give us a screech.
If he's listening to this, he may not be muted on like Hangouts itself. He might be muted, say, on his through his computer. So he may want to check on that.
Yeah.
Just
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If you want to get
just on that Japanese stuff, mate. So I don't know if you mentioned it, but Tanaka's performance against Moses Fuentes for that vacant WBO strap. That was probably like the performance of that whole Japanese fight shows for the 2 days. Two-weight. Well, I think it'll be two-weight champion. I think he won his first title at 19. If you looked at his previous fights, you were kind of saying to yourself, this guy could peak too early because he was no defence. It was basically straight in, throwing shots and just taking whatever came back at him, and he just kind of just kept going. I just thought against Fuentes, ex-world champion, vastly experienced as well. 2 good fights with Nietes, and he's shown good patience. Good jab, better defence, most definitely. He was certainly moving his head and body far, far better, stepping out of distance to avoid being hit. I just think the raiding tactics, the jab, bang at the body, he gave Fuentes different looks and stuff, and then we really did get him, because Fuentes is quite long and tall at the body. He just started attacking it with the left hook, and once he got him on the ropes, I think it was fantastic performance from Kosei Tanaka.
Yeah, before we go on to the Corrales card, I want to get a couple of the other boys in. We've heard briefly from Smido, and I want to get Dave the Hater Low back in if I can. Just before Christmas, Friday the 23rd of December, over in Canada, Artur Beterbiev knocked out Isidro Prieto for the WBA, NABA light heavyweight title. Titles aren't really what matters here. Beterbiev's fit and active, and he's knocking people out. Hater Dave Lowback, I don't know if you saw the 1 minute or not. We did post up an article from one of our contributors on the website, Chris O'Neill, and a high definition version of the fight, so you are able to see it if you want to. Just on a wider point with Beterbiev in the 175-pound division, he's ranked very highly now by all of the organisations. Which route do you see him going, considering the fact that he's on the PBC roster? Which avenue would you take him down if you had the choice?
If Al was smart, he'd see that his man Stevenson, I guess it's a two-way street because it looks like Marcus's mic is actually turned on now, but it's a two-way street because Stevenson, I don't think Beterbiev ever has really the potential to be like that huge Canadian draw like Stevenson is. But at the same time, Stevenson is on his way out. Stevenson's old. He's showing vulnerability. Heyman should build Beterbiev up, match him with Stevenson, cash Stevenson out, and then have Beterbiev as his new so-called lineal champion. I don't know what the point of the fight was a couple weeks ago with that one-round job. Pointless. This is a guy who blew through Tavares Cloud. He's above this crap. Why are we wasting our time with this? Maybe it was supposed to be I guess he was injured last year and it was sort of like some kind of comeback. But what will he have gained from that? What will anybody have gained from that? Nothing. It's time to step up here. It reminds me of Lomachenko 2 years ago when he was just on the Pacquiao Mayweather undercard against some guy never heard of or seen. We don't want to see that crap. And as far as I'm concerned, if he doesn't step up, there's no point talking about him. I think he's got the talent. I'm not sure about the skills as much, but he's huge into the weight cutting culture, which for me is a huge problem in all combat sports. I think it's a bigger problem in mixed martial arts where you have the wrestlers who have done it their entire lives, but it's also a problem in boxing. You have guys like Peter Quillen who come in as light heavyweights and smack around 154 pounders. That Australian guy he destroyed. It happens regularly, and I don't like it. I think I think we'd have better fights and better fighters if guys fought at their natural weights. I think we should go back to ringside weigh-ins, even if that's what it takes. So yeah, Beterbiev should be cruiserweight probably, but I would like to eventually see that Kovalev fight with him because I don't like him and I want to see him get smashed by the Crusher.
Smido, he wants to see him get smashed by the Crusher. I was talking to our very own Donny Baseball, also on the call the week before Christmas, about the light heavyweight division. It's starting to hit my buttons now. I'm really liking some of the names. Regarding Beterbiev, he needs someone who's going to take him a few rounds, someone who's durable, take him past the 7th, which is the farthest he's been so far. Names that are flying out to me. I was going to say Fonfara, but I think he's a little bit, maybe not as durable as you think he is. Maybe someone like Isaac Chilemba they could throw him in with, see how he gets on, or maybe a Gvozdyk and just let them duke it out.
Well, let's see who beats Isaac Chilemba. No, but that fight the other week was pretty pointless, to be honest. I know he's been inactive, but I don't think that was much of an excuse for the opponent that we was delivered live on Box Nation, as I'm a hardcore subscriber nowadays. I just need to see him fighting people. I agree with Dave that that weight cutting is, he should really be at cruiserweight. But we've got to remember that there's a big difference between 175 and 200. So I don't know whether that'll be a move that he makes. But yeah, I was hoping initially about going the Kovalev route, but obviously Kovalev has been beaten, like it or not, and Beterbiev is with the wrong promoter. So that's gone out the window as well. So I like Dave's idea of letting him smash Adonis.
Smash Adonis, says Smido, who is an Adonis fan. Marcus Bellinger, we've had a few gremlins in the system. Hopefully we can hear you now. If you want to unmute yourself and talk to us about Naoya Inoue and his win over the weekend. Marcus, are you there?
That's got to be the fourth knockdown, surely.
Right, Marcus, sorry, but we're operating on a four knockdown
and Howard
rule
Foster
here.
has
And
stopped it.
Steve Schmoger's had enough. We do appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to us. Marcus has been on before, and he always offers a great wealth of knowledge. But on this occasion, unfortunately, we've been beaten. We're going to have to let him go. If you want to check that out, Marcus, and we'll maybe try and get you on another week. Sorry about that. Right, we've had to let Marcus go there. What was the fight I was talking about, Andy? Yes, it was the General Gymnasium fight on Saturday, the 31st of December. Hitoshi Watanabe Promotions, Jezreel Corrales with a split decision win over Takashi Uchiyama. Masayuki Ito beat Takuya Watanabe. And Ryoichi Taguchi, who I believe you've already mentioned, drew with Carlos Canizales. I'm tripping over these names, Andy, help me out.
My sound was still okay, mate, yeah?
Yep.
Good stuff. Taguchi Canizales, I had a draw. It really was close fight. It really was what you liked. Really have to kind of watch closely, because if you looked at it, Canizales kind of started rounds pretty good, but then it just seemed like Taguchi's power just seemed to kind of seemed to stun him, or kind of he felt the weight and just kind of decided to back off and try and kind of counter off the back foot. Last two rounds was certainly a war of attrition, but I think a draw is probably fair, and obviously a rematch as well. I'll let maybe Ryan come in and speak about Corrales against Uchiyama. My personal thought was, I thought Corrales just shaded it. I did think he was trying to kind of look for the left hand, the big bomb in the left hand, which knocked out Uchiyama the last. I think he looked for that pretty early doors and realised he wasn't going to get it. Both hurt each other. A couple of good heavy shots both landed, but I think Uchiyama just narrowly lost the fight, and I would probably think that's probably going to be the end of him as well. So decent career for Uchiyama, but Corrales definitely, I thought he just shaded that fight.
Was Uchiyama the one where Tommy said a couple years ago, it was like when we first started the pod, I like hard punching Japs?
I think it was Tommy Yamanaka at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was Yamanaka.
Ryan, Andy invited you in there. Anything on this card, Corrales in particular, worthy winner, do you think?
Yeah, I thought he was a worthy winner. I mean, Uchiyama could have won the fight if he threw more, but he was too hesitant. I mean, when he threw later on, he was hurting Corrales, and then he just hesitated too much, because Jezreel was just spoiling most of the second half, and Uchiyama just wasn't, throwing his hands enough. So
it wasn't a knockdown
it's
either.
Unfortunate, because now he's
in the fifth round. That wasn't a knockdown. It shouldn't have got called.
Yeah, it was the feet, right?
Aye, I think it was. But there was no punch had landed there. I think it got called as well.
Yeah, it did get called. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, because now Uchiyama's probably going to retire, when he could have won that fight if he just threw more. But I thought Canizales beat Taguchi as well, and there's actually rumors that Canizales is going to fight Zhao Shiming next, so that'll be interesting, because Zhao will have a huge height advantage, but because he's not that great, it might probably be a close fight.
Any other comments about the Japanese stuff, or anything that we might have missed since the last pod over the Christmas period?
Just try to kind of.
Actually, I'm going to say one thing about. I'm going to say one thing about the Beterbiev thing. Him and Adonis Stevenson are with the same, both with Al Heyman, but they won't put Beterbiev in with Adonis because right now what they're trying to do, they're doing a later Alvarez who is already the mandatory. They're doing him versus Butte, and they're hoping Butte wins so they can make Adonis against Butte. And meanwhile, Beterbiev, who they're not going to put anywhere near Adonis, so they're in the same stable. Yeah, they're keeping them away from each other because what I would do is I'd go the IBF route because the IBF is actually gonna abide by mandatories and stuff and not dick around for 2 or 3 years because Adonis hasn't made a mandatory defense in 3 years or something.
Was it Bellew? He's my last
And
mandatory.
this Alvarez one. Yeah, this Alvarez one has kept getting delayed, even though they're with the same promoter. So I would actually, for Beterbiev, I'd try to go the IBF route, especially if Ward retires or whatever he does, because he's going to dick around with all those belts for as long as possible. So I'd go the IBF route if I were Beterbiev because they actually do things by the rules.
If you're just wrapping up the Japanese stuff, Steve, one fighter I did see, I think he was 2-0, maybe 3-0 now. Was it Satoshi Shimizu? He's 30-year-old, 2012 Olympic bronze medalist. He's likely going to be marched pretty hard, and then there's really no time to waste with this guy. Tall featherweight, decent boxer, just seem to have a bit of leaky defence. So look for him to be getting fast tracked over the next couple of months.
Excellent stuff. Thanks for that, Andy, and for the other guys as well. At this time, I'd just like to remind you that we have on the panel Adam Smith, Hater Dave Loback, Donny Baseball, Andy Patterson, and Ryan as well. Couldn't make it work with Marcus, unfortunately. Maybe try and get him on at some point in the future. We're going to be talking Badu Jack, James DeGale very, very shortly. Before we do so, as I said at the beginning, we had some questions come in on the Facebook page and on Twitter, so I'm going to rattle through a few of those. Smido, first one to you from Wes Shaw on Facebook. He said, what big fights can Frank Warren put together this year on BT Sport?
I think there's a lot. He needs to get some world title shots he's got the likes of Josh Warrington, etc. A big one I would love to see actually, is the Battle of the Liams. Smith against Williams would be a cracker. There's no reason why that can't be made. Possibly even with a world title kind of.
Some of my wish list that fight actually.
Yeah, possibly with a mandatory or eliminator kind of tag with it, which I wouldn't be against. I think that would be fair enough. That's a big one. I want to see Zolani Teti in a meaningful fight, if not a world title, because he's still on the books with Frank. He's obviously got Josh Warrington as well. I want to see Bradley Skeet moving forward, although he speaks as if British level he's happy with at the moment. And then if he picks up any new signings, could be a route in there. I know it sounds ridiculous, but we could even see Eubank back on there. It's a platform, but we don't really know what's happening with that. It could possibly work with the likes of Hennessy. I think it's obviously, as we know, it's a massive year for Warren and Box Nation and BT. So, yeah, it's a big year. I've just reeled off a few there, and I'm looking forward to it, to be honest.
Yeah, excellent stuff. I hope he does link up with the Hennessy or even maybe Dennis Hobbs and all those guys, Adam, because it just broadens things out a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah, and it gives those guys a route in. I think Frank, to deliver, is almost going to need those sorts of guys, the Hennessy's, the Hobsons, and the people like that, the provincial kind of promoters. He's going to need them to kind of please BT. His stable's not big enough at the moment to fill those. I think it's 15 BT dates. Frank's stable's not big enough or good enough to do that as we speak. So yeah, interesting times. Hey to Dave Loback, Sean Glover on the Facebook page says, with Shannon Briggs securing the title shot for making YouTube videos rather than fighting anyone in the top 20, and Freza Quendo being a half-decent contender 10 years ago that's been inactive for 2 years, is this the worst heavyweight title fight ever to be made? Well, it's a bit of a spurious title, isn't it? But the point still stands. This is absolute dog shit, Dave.
Which is the sanctioning body?
Oh, need you ask, Dave? Need you ask? It is the WBA. Of what variety? I'm not sure. It could be regular. I think it's regular.
It's a regular title, I'm sure.
For fuck's sake.
They need to keep themselves regular, Dave, to flush the shit out.
I mean, I don't consider most of these paper belts to be heavyweight titles anymore, but let's say yes. It is the worst paper championship contest I've ever heard of.
the worst that Dave says, and there's been a hell of a lot of them over recent times. Andy,
Yeah, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Andy, Sean Miller says, please discuss the Eubank pay-per-view promotional situation. Are ITV doing any promoting themselves, or is it all left to Boxing Sports and the Eubanks? I know a few fairly hardcore boxing fans that had no idea this fight was happening. What is going on here? We keep hearing a lot of conjecture, a lot of rumours, Andy. We don't know, is the fight on? Is it off? I think my understanding is the fight's on, but are ITV even still involved in this?
Sounds still okay, mate, yeah?
Yep.
Yep. See, to be honest, I was flying back from Norway, actually. I'm kind of like, the Wi-Fi is shit, so I'm actually sitting on the plane trying to kind of follow through all this stuff. I really don't know. I mean, there was rumours, obviously, ITV weren't happy or were going to pull out of it. You know, I've seen tweets going about, Eubank with a phone number, basically begging people to buy tickets. To be honest, the undercard looks, pretty decent. I think it's supposedly meant to be on ITV4. I've even attempted to look through my planner to see where this ITV pay-per-view thing is, but I ain't paying for it. I mean, it's a shocking fight as it is. I suppose the only question mark is going to be is, he's moving up in weight. The guy that he's fighting, as I say, if you listen to the podcast a couple of weeks back or whatever, when he fought Daniel Gill, it was basically a video from someone that took him from ringside, so I couldn't really kind of basically judge how good this guy is. But if judging by that, he basically ragdolled the Gill over that bloody ring. So, maybe he's not going to be a guy to kind of merk about with. But Eubank's just going to clown. But I'm talking as if the fucking fight's on. I've not really got a clue, and it wouldn't be surprised me as well as if there's a postponement or whatever and stuff. But I've seen. Did anybody see the fight poster with the old man in the background? Yeah. Fucking narcissistic motherfucker, eh? Jesus Christ. Oh, bloody poor man. But I don't know. I really don't know if it's on ITV. I don't give a shit. The fight's not really all that great. I'm not really interested. I'm not really kind of giving a shit about Eubank until he fights someone of genuine quality.
Well, Andy summed it up there. We don't really give a shit. I think some of our fellow pod friends from another pod have set the rumours going, which I find quite amusing that it's off. But it looks like it's on. I still think it'll be a fudge job in terms of the pay-per-view. The original plan was for everything, all the undercard to be on ITV4, which is fair enough, no problem with that. And then the pay-per-view element is for one fight only.
That's terrible, Adam. That's terrible.
It doesn't make much sense. I still think they'll fudge it. I still think it'll be a buy one, get one free, or, teaming up with, I don't know, EE or something like that, or, Vodafone or something like that, or some provider or internet provider, Virgin, I don't know. I just can't see it being a straight up, you ring up, you pay 20 quid and you watch 36 minutes, if that, of so-called entertainment. I just can't see it being that. It will be some sort of fudge job, or sign up for free, or boxing monthly, or boxing new subscribers, something along them lines, I think. But as Eddie did say, you have got to give credit that the Eubanks, particularly English, has managed to con ITV into signing a deal. I mean, even if it's, let's assume it's not pay-per-view, he's managed to get boxing on ITV4, where it's never been on ITV4, I don't think, and it's been away from ITV as a whole for a long, long time. So he's managed to talk his way into that.
And who's paying for it? Who's paying for the undercard? Other promoters?
Because what I'm wondering, Adam, because if you look at the people behind the scenes, you've got good experienced boxing people. Guys like Richard Poxon, who's worked for many years with Ricky Hatton. He was Clinton Woods' trainer back in the day. Someone told me that John Wishausen, who has been head of boxing at Matchroom Sports for years and years, a really experienced boxing guy, is now head of boxing or something at ITV. So these aren't wet behind the ears guys, Adam. These guys know the business.
Yeah, but Steve, equally, I do worry for the likes of Poxon, because he's got quite a decent reputation. He's Sheffield. He's done some work in Manchester. I think he's close to Colchester and that. He's quite a well-respected kind of kid. The way that the Eubanks operate, he could get if this goes belly up, he might get the full blame. And it'll be wrong, because they tried to blame Eddie Hearn for the Triple G fight not happening. Eddie's clever enough, and he's got enough fanboys, etc., to explain or deflect it. I think Poxon could be made to look like an idiot here through no fault of his own.
Yeah, I noticed on Twitter earlier, the great resource that is the Boxing Kingdom were tweeting pretty much what you were saying, that they think that it's going to be the undercard completely free and the main event pay-per-view, and they describe this as a smart boxing move. I don't see it as a smart move whatsoever. I think that's freaking suicidal.
And so the Eubank father and son single-handedly ended boxing in the UK.
You think it's as rough as that, Dave? Seriously, though, nobody pays any attention to them.
They get more. They get tons of it. I mean, look how much time we're spending on them right now. Even I mean, who cares? They're bums.
But it's the potential's there. The potential is there for Eubank Junior to be a very good fighter and in some very good fights. You know, there's the likes of Groves, DeGale, Billy Joe. We've been there before. You know, etc. We haven't even gone out of England yet. So there's a lot of potential there, but they've just been no way near proving their claims, and they've completely forgot that they got beat fair and square. They got beat once before, and it's just been brushed under the carpet. I mean, they've done a better job of forgetting that defeat than Bellew has of forgetting the Stevenson embarrassment. I didn't think you could do it. I did not think that they could do a better job than that. You know, Sky and Eddie and Bellew have pushed that right under the carpet. That didn't even happen. The Bellew defeat. That was an embarrassment. Didn't even happen. I must be dreaming it. But the Eubanks have done an even better job. They've gone one step further and just completely blocked out the Billy Joe Saunders performance and defeat. It's amazing, really.
Yeah, he's pound for pound number one, except for Ward.
Go ahead, Andy.
No, I was just, I agree with Dave. You know, let's forget about them. They're bums until they actually get in the ring and fight someone. I mean, he's the way the career's panning out. It's like his old man when he signed that deal with Sky, and Barry Hearn basically let him pick whatever club fighter he wanted to fight anywhere over the world and stuff, and get fucking gift decisions on the road. So know that guy against Schumer in South Africa. The Irish guy was it Close? What's his name again? No, Glenn Close. What was his?
Yeah.
Ray Close. That was his. Fucking had to fight him 3 times. Second fight, he could have easily lost that fucking fight.
Yeah.
That's Dan Sherry's another one. I mean, if you think about it, the only fight I can actually recall where Eubanks been really impressive on the road, there was none of this mucking about, and that was the Rocky Gianni fight. He went to Germany and put on a decent performance. Actually, you know, didn't leave it in that.
Your sound's going, Andy.
You've gone a bit robot again. You've gone a bit robot on us, Andy. If you want to just reconnect yourself there. I think Andy was talking about the Graciano-Rocchigiani fight, which he's right. While Andy's reconnecting himself, we'll get you in, Donny, here. We've slagged the Eubanks. Let's have a go at Eddie now from Phil's right cross. This is the view from across the pond from Donny on this one. He says, how can Eddie justify selling 50,000 tickets for the AJ fight via StubHub? He's basically creating a secondary market. I don't know if you have any opinions on this whole StubHub debate. Do you even give a shit?
Well, I mean, I do, but the horse is already out of the barn there. I mean, it's been that way for a long time. I mean, what happened is that, you know, in the internet age, people started selling tickets online for, 10 times, 20 times the face value and stuff. Particularly, if you're able to get one of those seats in the closer sections. And all the profits from doing so went to, as you guys call them, touts, or as we call them in the U.S., scalpers. And, the venues and the promoters and everything started saying, wait, why don't we get those profits? And so now none of those tickets ever go on sale, right? They never go out. They just go straight to StubHub, where they can be sold to the highest bidder. It's unfortunate because back in the day, I remember going and, camping out in line for my favorite, sporting events or concerts or whatever. And if you were first in line, you actually had a crack at getting the first tickets, but no more, unfortunately. Chalk it up to another capitalism on steroids, but that's just the way that it is. And if you're going to get a good seat, you basically have to pay outrageous prices. Although in some of these arenas, part of the experience of being there is being around so many people, and it is fun to be there, even if you might get a better view in HD TV at home, and you get your commentary, and you don't have like all these people around you. You get your popcorn, and you can sit back and relax with a beer that isn't overpriced. Sometimes the experience and the energy of actually being in the arena is worth it, and you can always go back and watch the replay later on television. So. That's just sort of something that we can't really do anything about.
This StubHub is a situation, we all hate it, but it's here to stay. There's nothing we can do about it. It's not against the law. Eddie knows there's nothing we can do about it, and he has to keep answering the same old question every time there's an AJ fight or a big fight. I don't believe that they take backhanders from the secondary market. I do believe that people have just got systems set up whereby they can buy tickets autonomously, almost have, with the bots online. It's all over my head, but it's a bit clever for me. But yeah, it's here to stay, and I'm just sick of hearing about it, to be honest. It's a real shame that we're in this situation where genuine fans can't get tickets. I think there's 3,000 Fight Pass members. He said around 3,000, and he was almost guaranteeing them a ticket or access to 2 tickets each for the AJ fight, which is fair enough. He's took action to. We can say what we want about Fight Pass. There was meant to be fights on there. Obviously, that's never really happened. But he has took action to limit the number of people on there. So he's got genuine customers for the tickets for the big fights, which is, fair enough. If them 3,000 people are paying £30 a year and able to get tickets to 2 or 3 massive events, or guaranteed tickets almost, then fair play. Maybe it should just be called Ticket Pass.
Ticket Pass, says Smido. He's sick of hearing about StubHub. Smido has spoken, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan, last couple. First one for you. Gavin McDonnell. Oh, thanks very much. Gavin McDonnell will face Ray Vargas for the vacant WEC Super Bantamweight title at the Hull Ice Arena on February the 25th, live on Sky Sports. I'm sure Vargas is delighted about travelling to Hull. Why on earth is Gavin McDonnell anywhere near world level, Ryan?
Well, you know how the sanctioning bodies works. It's basically relationships with the promoters that gets you positions in the rankings. I mean, basically Hasegawa retired, and those Gavin McDonnell and Ray Vargas were the 2 top guys there. I mean, it's not really how it should be, but it's just how it is. I mean, McDonnell is up against it, even in his own country, because Vargas is way better than anyone he's fought, and so he'll probably need to rely on like hometown judging or something to win the belt, because I don't think he has much of a chance to really, even though Vargas has been down a few times, but I don't really think McDonnell is really gonna have much to trouble him with.
Well, I'm not being funny, but Gavin McDonnell, I'm not saying he's the most worthy contender we've ever had, but he's done more than some of these idiots that we've sent over for titles. And there's one idiot that's had more than one title from Liverpool. So
this guy, he's fighting. I mean, this guy's quite tall. He's got long arms, decent bit of power about him. Dropped Muniz about 4 or 5 times to get this spot. So this guy, he's no mug, by the way. He's no mug, this fighter.
I've got to say, Gavin McDonnell is one of the most quietly improved fighters on the British scene, to be fair. I remember him struggling in his first British title fight against Lee Wood. He was getting beat for the first 3 or 4 rounds and, turned that around. So, like his brother, he's not spectacular. He don't sell a massive ticket. He's not, he's not controversial or anything like that. He's steady Eddie. He has gone about his business in the route that you can do, where you can, but he has actually I'm not saying he's fully earned it, but he's semi-earned his shot, and certainly more than the likes of Paul Smith.
Certainly likes of Paul Smith. Yeah, regarding his brother, Jamie, sorry, his name's slipped my mind there. He was a strange one himself, wasn't he, the way he worked up to world level? I can remember him back in the 2000s fighting on Sky. I think he lost to Chris Edwards. He had
there's her name.
Andy Bell, which he eventually knocked out. And wasn't it Haskins as well? He lost to as well. He was going nowhere fast for a while before he got a shot at the European title, possibly, I think.
Well, at one point, he lost to Haskins, Hall, and I think one other, and they both, who went to win world titles before he did. But again, Jamie has got his nut down. He's with a steady trainer. He's obviously got a better promoter now. I mean, his world title fight wasn't even on TV, I don't think, and that was a cracking performance as well. But yeah, I mean, they're not spectacular fighters or spectacular names. But Jamie McDonnell had, not last year, but 2015 had a fantastic year when we gave him credit for that. So it's a tough fight for Gavin McDonnell. It's not on pay-per-view. It'll be an half decent Saturday night card.
Yeah, I think Jamie's fight with Julio Ceja, it was ended up on Premier Sport or Prime Time or something, and there's talk of McDonnell maybe fighting Paul Butler at some point in the future. we shall watch that one with interest. I know Smido would be all over a fight like that.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah, let us move on. Let us move on to the previews for next week. This isn't the end of the pod. I just wanted to throw them in early so we have plenty of time, particularly to talk about DeGale and Jack. We also have Lara and Foreman. Before we move on to that one in the middle, Andy, I know this one will interest you. I don't want you to talk about it in any depth. I'm just mentioning it. Giacobi Fragamini is still fighting.
Yeah, I had
At
heard
the
about
age
that
of
one.
47.
He said I said this a couple of weeks back, mate. He's going to come back and have a few fights. He said that. He said how he's going to feel. I remember mentioning it a couple of pods back.
That is bonkers, isn't it?
Is
I
that the guy
liked him
that
in the
fought
day.
Eubank
His
Senior?
fight- Yeah,
No,
David
that's-
Hay, his fight was good.
That's the one he fought David Hay. He fought Zol Erdai, I think.
Did he fight Vladarchik a couple of times?
Possibly, mate. I think he fought Zol Erdai as well.
Oh, Zolt Erdai, there's a name from the past. I loved his WBO reign. That was one of the worst reigns of all time. Yeah, he lost to Hay, lost to Erdai, lost to Vladarchik twice. He was knocked out by Chakiev. He hasn't fought in 2015. Eddie will be on the phone, I think. Good fighter in his day, Fragamini, but he maybe should have hung them up.
They're on the phone for Matty Haskins or something like that, you know.
I'm Matty Haskins,
47.
Craig-
Wow.
Craig Kennedy or Tom McCarthy or something like that.
Right, enough Fragamini talk for one pod. Let's fly over to next week, Friday the 13th. Erislandi Lara.
Oh,
There's a
fuck.
horror show.
You had to start with that fight, Steve. You had to start with that fight. Did you hear
Come on,
Dave?
guys,
What
you
did
know
kill
you're
yourself?
doing this against
Let's-
Dave's favourite fighter, Yuri
Fuck.
Foreman. Last I heard about Yuri Foreman, wasn't he retiring from boxing to become a rabbi or something like that?
Yeah.
Started up his own promotional company afterwards. I remember that.
He retired because he got smashed by that Polak.
Oh, Pavel Volak.
Yeah, the Polak Wolak.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Dave-
his face used to smash up into cuts just walking to the ring.
Dave the race baiter, eh?
Casual racism.
What? I thought Polak was what they
Yeah.
call themselves.
Dave the
It's
Jew
kind
boy.
of a slur. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, enough of this, boys. Whoever wants to talk about it first. But let me tell you, the IBO title is on the line here, and the WBA Super World Super Welterweight. The WBA Super World Welterweight title is on the line.
Well, I think
It's a
actually
good
that's
fight.
when you put those two together, it actually becomes the WBA Super Duper welterweight.
What the fuck? What the fuck is Foreman done to earn a title shot? I mean, I know it's the Panamanians we're talking about here, but what the fuck has he done to earn even an IBO title fight? It's just like Eubank and this other gadget that he's fighting. I mean, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
Well,
what
that's a
what
niche
graveyard
fight.
did they dig out Foreman from it? That's ridiculous.
Well, this is what I was going to say, Donny. Here's some niche fights from the past. Do you remember any of these two fights, Donny? 2007, he fought Andre Serkan. And what about this name from the past, Donny? Anthony the Messenger Thompson.
All I know is though,
Remember him?
if Foreman pulls off the impossible, this once again improves Amir Khan's resume. So I mean, no, that's
Oh, for God's sake.
Ryan, save us from this madness. You'll remember the Messenger Thompson, won't you? What do you think about Foreman's chances?
Oh wait, no. I'm sorry.
He was an extra in the
I-
Postman. That's what it was.
He didn't fight Khan. I was thinking Dimitri Salita. I got the wrong.
Yeah, what are you
Jewish
talking
fighter.
about, Donny? I didn't want to piss on your fire or anything, but
Yeah.
I thought everybody got that reference, maybe not me.
Yeah, no. I was thinking of Dimitri Salita. I picked the wrong Jew.
It improves the great Koto's resume.
I picked the wrong Jew. Oh my
Fuck
God.
Cotto.
Ryan, everyone else shut up. Ryan, talk to us about this fight. Foreman, quick fighter in his day, decent, no power. I quite liked him, actually, especially his wins over the Messenger. Nobody else seems to want to talk about that. Also, won a unanimous decision over Ireland's James Moore, drew with Cornelius Bundridge, beat Daniel Santos back in 2009. He's got a
Yeah,
decent
he
resume,
beat that
Foreman.
guy that beat Margarito. I know a lot of Margarito fans were pissed about that because a Jew beat a guy who beat him.
Ryan, please.
Well, you know, I think if you want to talk about super duper titles, I think we should all take a moment on this podcast to note that Hank Lundy won the UBF title on December
Yes.
31st, I believe.
Yes.
The
I'll tell you
prestigious
what, like,
UBF title.
McAllister, mate. Lee McAllister's become a two-weight world champion.
That's
Two-time
right,
world champion, WBF and the WBU.
He's fighting for the WBF. Your sound's going a bit funny, Andy, but he's fighting for the WBF, which he will hopefully add to the WBU. But about Foreman, Lara's this isn't going to be a aesthetically pleasing fight, is it, Ryan? To the eye, I don't think.
Well, I probably not. I mean, you know, Lara's talking like he wants to go in and bomb him out in the round, and I hope that happens, because otherwise it's going to be like the worst fight of all time. So, I mean, I don't know why the hell anyone ever thought it was a good idea to make this fight. I mean, I guess it's just some shitty buying time fight that somehow benefits the promoters in one way or another, because it doesn't benefit the fans one bit.
I don't understand how it
a shit
benefits them,
fight.
though. I don't understand how it benefits them, because, in other words, so we've already seen that Heyman is willing to make a fight with other promoters outside the PBC stable, because we're having Golovkin fight Jacobs. So, I mean, if all the money right now, you know, when you got Canelo moving up now with the Chavez fight, so obviously he's going to probably go back to middleweight when he's finished fighting Chavez. You got Golovkin there, you got Jacobs. I mean, the money's up at middleweight, and Lara's already big for the weight. So, I mean, what the hell is he still taking around at 154 for? I mean, he should move up.
Yeah, he should. I don't really get it. You know, Lara talks all this shit about, oh, I'll fight Golovkin, and then he fights like Delvin Rodriguez, Jan Zavek, Yuri Foreman. It doesn't really make sense, other than his people are comfortable just getting paid for easy fights. You know, I think Spike TV actually pays for the PBC broadcasts. I don't think Spike is a time buy, so I think maybe they're somehow getting covered on this one, because otherwise, why the hell would you pay to put this shit on?
Why the hell would you pay to put this shit on, says Ryan. Final comments on this one, or maybe on the undercard. Anthony Durella, Norbert Nemasapati. There's me talking back to myself. And
Is that the one who
nice
Callum Smith fought?
Yes, that's the same one. Adam, he's a bit of a midget, I think. And also in some lovely symmetry, on Friday the 13th, we have Miguel Cruz, 13-0, against Alex Martin, 13-0. That's about the most interesting thing I've come up with on this card. Any other comments?
Come on, let's get to the good stuff.
Let's get to the good stuff. Adam doesn't want to talk about this anymore. So if Adam speaks, I shall move on.
Quite fucking right.
The next night, Barclays Centre, New York. Lou DiBella, etc., etc. James DeGale and Badu Jack are both putting their titles on the line. We're not talking about the undercard just yet. We'll stick to the main event, I think. I am a Badu Jack fan as much as I'm a fan of any boxer. I don't think he's too bad at all. I've always picked him to beat DeGale. I'm not wavering from that pick. I don't put a great deal of stock in Jack's knockout loss. I think that sometimes shit happens. It was a first round, blah, blah, blah. I think he's decent. I think he's sturdy. I think he's got a nice jab. He goes to the body. He'll keep grinding away in those middle rounds while DeGale is throwing the rounds away, I think, because I am suspicious about DeGale's gas tank. I think he can look like $1 million in some rounds. We know he punches hard. We know he's very technically gifted. But I think he takes time off, and Jack will capitalise on that time and win a very, very close, narrow decision, maybe a majority split decision, something like that. It's going to be close. It's going to be tight. I'm putting my neck on the line. I'm going for Badu Jack, or Bumdu Jack, as our friend Leon from the Boxing Coalition calls him. Andy, what's your views on this one?
Force said, apart from your prediction at the end there, mate, I'm going for DeGale. As you say, I gave Jack a lot of shit. I think it was just me, like, as I was trolling Donny, just because of Derek Edwards' knockout. You know, as you say, shit happens. If you want to look at it in some sort of detail, you know, they have got, you know, contrasting opponents. I think they both fought Porky Medina. I think Jack smashed him out in 5 or 6 rounds, whereas DeGale kind of somewhat struggled with it a wee bit. Paraban, I think DeGale smashed him out early doors, whereas Jack had to kind of labour out a 12-round decision or whatever it was. But DeGale, obviously, you know, the class is all with him. I just think I never gave Jack a lot of credit until I actually got a chance to sit and properly watch him. As he is, you know, he is very conventional, but he does the basics pretty well. But is the basics going to be enough to beat DeGale? I don't think it will be. I just think speed will kill. Unless he can really get the timing done. Badu Jack, if he can get his timing done and clip DeGale, we can maybe make it really interesting. As you say, the gas tank is always a question mark with DeGale. I think he will find that, you know, I think he'll probably old man and rough him up a wee bit. I just think on the inside and stuff, I think that's where DeGale's going to have to try and really, you know, nullify him and kind of like counter him and kind of pull out and stuff. But this going to the ropes and just, you know, taking, you know, 2 minutes off in a round and stuff and try and steal it, it's just not going to work this time. This guy, he will keep coming. He's got a decent jab. He has got a wee bit of power about him. And if you leave yourself open, you like to keep your hands down sometimes. And if you keep your hands down, it just takes one shot and you're over. But I think DeGale will eke it out. I'm going to go for like 115, 113, 116, 112 and pay for James DeGale. See, to be honest as well, see this fight's probably going to be the last fight at 168 that I'm actually going to be interested in, because that division is running very, very bare. And considering like the WBA title situation, they just make a complete utter mockery of it. And obviously you've got Eubank fighting that guy for Australia as well for the IBO title, so it's just become a complete clusterfuck.
Smido, it's become a complete clusterfuck. It's remarkable, I think, that we ever talk about DeGale's gas tank, given the fact that Jimmy McDonnell is in his corner, a guy who's an absolute keep fit fanatic. He was always in tremendous shape himself, goes out for a run, non-stop all day. Surely he's got DeGale whipped up into shape. Why does he sort of have these little lapses in concentration, these little spells of, he's not doing a lot?
Well, I can tell you why, Steve, and I think it's because he's struggling at the weight a little bit. I thought that for the last year or so. And I think that's why he opts to take rounds off himself rather than fight at a pace throughout the fight and then look tired towards the end. Rather than DeGale looking tired towards the end, he actually looks tired or is reserving his energy himself in the middle of the fight, and I think that's because I think he's struggling at the weight a little bit. I actually think Jack's underrated, as you do, Steve. I think it's a highly significant fight to start the year. A cracking fight, really, a genuine unification fight in a division, as Andy said, that's starting to wane a little bit. So I think it will be a good fight. DeGale's obviously the classy boxer, but I think Jack is underrated. He works the body well. His jab's got better in his last few fights, I think, as well. And Jack's the outsider in the fight, and I think looking for value as I try and do. I'm not saying it's nailed on to happen, and it's reasonably unlikely, but 8-1 for the Badou Jack KO, I think could be a bet, because if Jack does set the pace, which I think he can do, and make DeGale feel uncomfortable in rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, round that kind of area, I think we're going to see DeGale either have to fight fire with fire, then we'll see his tank empty towards the end, or in his lazy rounds that DeGale does seem to have, then we might then that's when he might get caught, and that's why I think there could be a little bit of value in Badou Jack KO at 8-1. It obviously with them odds, it points towards it likely that it does really go the distance, but I'll take my chance.
So what are you picking, Smido?
Badou Jack KO.
Wait, you put money on that?
I'm gonna have a bet on Badou Jack KO at 8-1. Yeah, I think 8-1's too big. I think it probably should be around 4 or 5-1. I mean, even at 4 or 5-1 it is still an outside bet. But
just PayPal me the money. Just PayPal me the money.
Actually, wait, Smato, what's the odds for like KO for rounds 9 through 12 or 10 through 12?
Right, I'll just have a look for you. Come back to me in a minute.
Because I would just imagine that would be even more so, and I think that if what you're saying is correct, is you think that Jack has a chance at the KO if he sets the pace early, he could tire him out to the point where maybe he could get a stoppage near the end when DeGale is exhausted. And so if the general odds are 8-1, I would think that if you were picking up blocker rounds, you might even have bigger and even more juicier odds. I don't know if that logic makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, it makes sense. Look, I'm not saying that I'm confident on Badou Jack scoring a KO. I'm just saying I think it's an outside shot, and I think 8-1 is too big. And if the price is too big, that's when you have a bet.
No, watch Adam. Yeah. Adam bet the block 10-12, and then he gets KO'd in round 9.
Oh well, yeah. Look, Dave, I had the biggest bet of 2016 was Louis Ortiz to knock out Dave Allen in rounds 1 to 6, and you know what round that finished in.
Yep.
Round 7, hater.
Badou Jack round 7 to 12 is 12-1. Badou Jack rounds 7 to 9 is 20-1. 20.
Dave, let me bring you in on this one then on the subject of betting. Smido told us the odds and all this type of thing, but Dobson Boxbet was asking on Twitter for you, Dave. He said, had Badou Jack not been iced in a round, as we were talking about earlier, would he actually be the favourite versus the talented but erratic DeGale? Do you think that's playing on people's minds, the fact that he got blasted out?
I don't know. I mean, it was hugely playing on my mind before he fought George Groves, and I thought, well, Groves has good power. All he has to do is land a couple clean shots. He's going to hurt Jack and finish him off. But he hit Jack with some big shots. Groves did, and didn't seem to phase him a bit. Butte is a good hitter usually. He didn't seem to phase him at all, although Jack did seem to tire slightly at the end of that fight. Of course, that was juiced up Butte, so who knows? I think the chin getting caught by Derek Edwards. Maybe Derek Edwards can just punch really hard. His record doesn't really seem to indicate that, but I don't know. It could have been just a freak fluke shot. I mean, his chin seems solid enough, or maybe he's been rolling with the punches since then. But I thought it looked to me like George Groves hit him with some big stuff, and he didn't budge.
So what's your prediction, Dave?
Well, I'm going to be at this fight. Looking forward to it. Be a couple rows back. Look for me ringside. Going down to Brooklyn with my dad Saturday. I think...
But a father-son bonding at a violent show, that's what I like to see, man.
This could be broken down into...
Is your dad Jewish as well?
I'm not... Nobody in my family is Jewish.
Lie bastard.
Not that I would care either way. But anyway, I think this fight could be broken down into extreme consistency with Badu Jack versus extreme inconsistency with James DeGale. Badu Jack, he doesn't often get out of first or second gear. He goes very steady. He has a lot of discipline, and usually this is a good thing for him. It's worked well. Almost all of his fights, obviously. He's very measured. He doesn't waste a lot of punches. He doesn't get wild. He's responsible defensively, and he does enough almost every fight that he should win a decision. That said, he's not as flashy or as imaginative, or probably not quite as physically explosive as DeGale. So I think if DeGale wins, it's going to be via his shots that you don't see coming, which who knows? Maybe Jack is still vulnerable to those. I mean, maybe the Groves fight was just, maybe Groves was too tired in that when he was landing those bombs, and they just didn't have the snap on him that we normally see. Because I mean, I think in that Groves fight, if Jack had been willing to go for it and had been somewhat less disciplined and had been a little bit more wild, I think he could have stopped Groves. I think Groves was there for the taking, especially in some of those middle rounds where his first wind was like on its last legs, and he sort of got a second wind in the late rounds. Yeah, I think he probably could have stopped Groves if he'd gone for it after he knocked him down, but he didn't. He just boxed very disciplined and very calmly. So I think Jack he's kind of grown on me in the past couple fights, because I didn't like him at first. He worshipped Al Heyman. He's a Mayweather guy. He's a Swede pretending to be American. I don't know. But I respect him a lot for his body punching ability, for how he's very disciplined in the ring, and he doesn't really talk a lot of shit. So yeah, I like Badu Jack. I think he should probably win a close decision here. Consistency over the 12 rounds, I think, will supersede DeGale's big moments, though he might get dropped a time or two. These guys have both been in sort of controversial close fights for the past couple of years. I mean, you had DeGale compare the two guys' fights with Groves. Somehow they had the Groves Jack fight a split decision, but I thought that was more of an 8-4 clear win for Badu Jack. But then you have DeGale, very, very close competitive fight. He got the L. The Butte fight, both guys against Butte was kind of similar, actually. It ended up being closer than everyone predicted before the fight, thinking Butte was going to be washed up. He juiced up instead, so he gave each of them a fight. I don't think anybody thinks that Badu Jack and Butte should have been a draw. That was a clear Jack win. But he got the draw in that fight somehow. I assume just so that Heyman can keep recycling Butte.
He's fighting Elder Alvarez at the end of this month.
I thought that was going to be with. I thought he was going to be fighting.
No.
What happened with the Stevenson fight?
No, fuck it, I don't know. Fighting Alvarez.
All right. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, bottom line, I think Jack's going to win. DeGale definitely has a real shot here, though, and who knows if he does get through and catch Jack with a shot he doesn't see coming and hurt him. That might be all it takes, just to hurt him once. We don't really know. His powers of recovery certainly didn't look too impressive against Derek Edwards.
Yeah, that's a good point. But that's another one for Jack. Donnie, Dave has led us in quite nicely there, actually. I want you to pull up a chair next to me a second while we very briefly just look over at their comparative box recs, because there's a good 3 or maybe even 4 opponents they have in common. We're going back to 2013 with Jack and a draw with Marco Antonio Periban, which makes me raise my eyebrows slightly. But Periban was okay, so we'll let that go. He then knocked out Porky Medina, who DeGale went the distance with. Then the shock knockout loss to Derek Edwards. A couple of nondescript wins for Jack before the title win for the WBC belt over Anthony Durrell. Then he defeated George Groves in a defence. As Dave said, I think the split decision was a load of nonsense. I had it 116, 111 with a knockdown to Jack. And then he fought to a draw with Lucian Butte, which again I thought Jack won, although it was relatively close. Groves, of course, beat DeGale in a very narrow fight early on in their career. That was a good few years ago now. And DeGale has also fought Lucian Butte. Is there anything to be gained, Donnie, by looking at the respective performances? There's not a lot in it, really, is there, between their performances over their comparable opponents?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's much to take from that. I mean, Butte probably, that we see, resurgent Butte, but Butte's resurgence, I think, maybe could be chalked up to his recent PED use, because he looked to have been kind of done after Pascal. Then all of a sudden he kind of came back out of nowhere. Then he comes up with the drug test. So I don't think there's much there. The Groves fight, way too long ago, I think, to be held against DeGale. Just as I think the Derek Edwards fight is way too long ago now to be held against Jack. So I believe that this is a pretty evenly matched fight. And I don't know. I think every time I watch Badu Jack, with the lone exception of the Derek Edwards fight, I think he impresses me every time. And every time I think he's hit a ceiling, he seems to show me something else. He does do a lot. Basically, as everyone says, he's a very good all-around fighter. He's a little bit reminiscent of kind of a Danny Garcia, except at the 168-pound level. He does everything pretty good. He doesn't do one thing amazing. Of course, he is facing the speed deficit against DeGale, but he also has an advantage in terms of his gas tank. I think that DeGale's gas tank, as everyone said, is questionable. To me, this is as close to a pick'em fight as you can get. It's a 50-50 matchup. It is a great fight, and I could see why if I was available, I'd be going to it as well. But I'm not. But I hope Dave has a good time. But I'm going to roll with Jack on this one, but only hesitantly so. This is one that could go either way. Something in my gut tells me to pick Badu Jack.
Ryan, final word to you. Quite a few Jack fans on here. Donnie has a feeling in his gut, which is never a good sign if previous pods have anything to go by. Do you have any feelings in your gut that's telling you either way?
Yeah, I'm picking DeGale by unanimous decision. I actually think Jack is the one that's struggling with the weight. I know I heard various people mention that, and he said he's probably going to move up to light heavyweight after the fight. I mean, DeGale actually said that he could make middleweight and that he's not that small, and that, I mean, he's not that big, and that in the past, he just let himself, get too heavy eating junk food between fights and stuff like that. But one interesting thing for this fight is DeGale actually has a strength and conditioning coach now. And, I mean, if you just look at the pictures and stuff and the videos that have come out from him, his body looks a lot, more muscular and defined than than it has in the past. So I think that could be interesting. I just think DeGale is a lot more dynamic fighter and is going to be able to come from a lot more angles, while Jack is kind of the much more orthodox type of fighter. And so I think it'll be a pretty close fight. 7-5 DeGale I think is probably, or 8-4 in rounds, I think is probably going to be how it ends up. But yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty close fight, but I lean towards DeGale.
Ryan's leading towards DeGale then. I think the picks on the panel and the way everyone's described the fight shows what a close and decent fight it is.
That's what we want. That's what we want, mate. Close competitive fights, 50-50. Yeah. I mean, DeGale stamina down the stretch. This is what we want to know. Questions to these answers. That's what we want. That's what we want in these type of fights. And so it's a good start to the year.
Excellent start to the year. Just looking down the undercard very briefly, and what our friend the Hater is going to be enjoying. Amanda Serrano defending her title against Yasmin Rivas. Evgen Kaitrov against Emmanuel Alim, and a heavyweight clash between Adam Kovnaski and Joshua Tufte. And also, Jose Pedraza is on against Gervonta Davis, IBF title fight. I don't know if anyone wants to speak on this. Good wins from Pedraza over Andrei Klimov and Edna Cherry, and then a domination of Stephen Smith. Unless I'm missing something with this Davis kid. He looks decent, 15 knockouts. He can clearly punch. He's only 22. He's 16 wins unbeaten. But his record is pretty shocking. The level of opposition, quite what he's done to deserve an IBF title shot for a start, I do not know, because his record is pretty appalling. But they must be seeing something in this kid, and he's going to upset the apple cart. I'm picking Pedraza. Anybody, any deviations from that? Anybody want to speak on this fight briefly?
I'm going for Davis. If you read his backstory, I think this guy could potentially step up. I think he's like, his parents were drug addicts or something. I don't know if he was born as a drug addict himself, or if it's he was born and stuff like that. His parents just basically kind of came along and stuff. You say, Steve, his resume is pretty shocking, but for what the rumors at the gyms and stuff, this guy, there's a lot of expectation in this guy, and I think there was this guy who was moaning actually that he wasn't getting fights, and I think Mayweather just says, right, okay, shithead, you want a fight? There you go, world title fight. Let's see if you can step up, sink or swim time. Pedraza's a good fighter, but just to kind of put the guy in here at the deep end, I think this is a good call. This is going to answer a lot of questions about Davis. He's talked a lot of shit. He's wanted fights. He's got one. It's meaningful. Well, for him anyway, it's meaningful in regards to the world title fight. But yep, I'm looking forward to this fight also.
This might be better than the main event, actually, because of the clash of styles. I think is better. Has anyone ever seen Davis fight? Like, I assume that he's somewhat of a come forward guy, but just based on his knockout ratio, but I never seen him.
I've seen him fight on YouTube, but he's one of these ones where I just can't remember. I can't remember what I saw. Anybody else?
See, to be honest, mate, his opponents have been absolutely dog shit. I mean, Ryan's probably seen more than what I have, but he's a kid who's like all boxers, is brimming with self-confidence. As I say, big things. Mayweather's pushing him. It's no foregone conclusion that this is a dangerous fight for him. But again, as I say, this is what we want. We want to see these guys not getting padded records. You could potentially say that this guy is actually a prospect, considering he's got 16-0. Who's he fucking fought in those fights? You can imagine maybe 4 or 5 of those fights equals one world title shot. So as in terms of toughness or whatever. But no, I think it should be a good fight. As you say, maybe better than the main event. But as I say, it's going to answer a lot of questions.
Yeah, one thing I will say, Andy, is I know it's a bit of a contradiction, but I'm looking at his record. I don't see any opponents, any names, or any even IBF trinkets that suggest he deserves this title shot. I don't think he does. But at the same time, I'm saying, well done. I respect the chance he's stepping up, and I'm looking forward to the fight. That might sound a bit weird, Smido, but I like the fight, but I don't think he should be in the fight.
Yeah, but if you don't think he should be in the fight, he's either going to get massively outclassed and knocked out, which would be reasonably entertaining, or he's going to surprise us all and make a big fight of it. I mean, the betting's got it very close. I'm not going to claim that I know anything about this Davis, because I wouldn't know him if he came and walked in my front room now. But the betting's pretty close. Davis is 6-5, and Pedraza about the same price, 8-11, something like that. So, yeah, it looks like a good couple of very, very close, competitive fights to make the card up. So yeah, fair play. I'll be getting up to watch it. And Badu Jack will knock James DeGale out, and I'll be right, and Andy will be wrong.
I like the confidence, Smido, not of you. I like your confidence too, but I like the confidence of Davis and his team. I like the way he's saying, you know what, I'm fed up fighting these numpties. Stick me in a decent fight. And he's constantly badgering Floyd, like Andy says. And they've obviously said, right, fair enough. Sink or swim, go and fight him. Yep, thanks very much. That's what I like about it. Yeah,
and Pedraza is good, but we don't know if he's, excellent, if you see what I mean. So, he's in a good fight where he should be the outsider, Davis. But
he's not got power, though, that's the thing.
Yeah, it's also a reasonably winnable fight as well.
We most of us thought he should have lost to Edner Cherry, so that about kind of defines his level. It was a very close fight, could have gone either way, but I think most of us thought Cherry should have won that.
The most recognisable name on Davis's record, I'm going to wrap this up, guys, soon. I know people are probably fed up listening to this. I noticed 4 fights ago he fought Cristobal Cruz in 2015, 40, 18 and 4. Cruz was a decent IBF featherweight title holder back in the day. I seem to remember him. Oh, God, I can't remember who fought now.
Was it Caballeros? Was it Celestino Caballeros? I remember that name kicking around at that time.
Oh, flip, I remember Caballero. He was brilliant, wasn't he? Fought Steve Molitor. No, it wasn't him. It was... because Tommy Egan was trying to get the shot against... It was Orlando Salido. That's who it was. It was Orlando Salido.
Right. There
you go. But I digress. But you said about Davis's backstory, and just something came into my head there. The PBC don't play on the backstories enough. Whenever I was talking to my new Bezzy mate, Richard Schaefer, when he was over at the Frampton thing, he said one of the reasons why he's been brought on board with Heyman and the PBC is because he's there to market them better, because he doesn't think that they do the storylines well enough.
He's right.
He's right as well, because at the same time, I also believe that a lot of fighters actually trust him and actually speak to him. And it's just, if you see some of the body language and that, I mean, some of these interviews and stuff, or maybe just watching the background, you can always see he's always chatting to people and chatting to the fighters, making sure everything's sound for him and all that stuff. Basically, modern Codline. He's basically a gopher. That's what he is.
Slimy though, innit?
Oh, he's a devious bastard. Like, I mean, he fucking shaft over your mate like that. Fuck off.
An essential middleman, though, to the business, I think.
Yeah, true.
He's absolutely stinking rich, guys. I think that is fair enough. We'll say that. Right, we're coming into the championship rounds now. Looking at the home straight, a couple of final little features before we finish off. The final thing we'll do today, so everyone get their thinking brains on a Scott Quigg for this one. I want to know the fights of 2017 that you're looking forward to that have already been made, the fights of 2017 that have not yet been made that you would like to see, and some fighters to watch out for. We're not going to do a prospect thing because we always get dragged down into the semantics. Oh, what's a prospect? Is it 12 fights? Can they have a title? So forget all that. Just a fighter. We might have heard of them. We might never have heard of them. Someone who you're looking forward to seeing and moving forward, and you want to give us a shout. Before we do that, Andy, I mentioned this to you. We get a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook and that, and often when we're chatting about particular fights, they say, oh, yeah, I'd never seen that fight, and I went and watched it, and that was great. And Punches from the Past has obviously brought up a lot of fights. So what I want to ask you guys is, what have you been watching over the last week or so over Christmas? What have you been watching? Sometimes, when you get a bit bored or you're doing the dishes or you're arsing about, you stick YouTube on and you watch a fight from the past or from recent years or whatever. What have you been watching, Andy? I know you've been stocking up on YouTube fights recently. Over in Norway, Ryan's jumped off the call. He obviously doesn't give a shit about this. It's just a very brief, just bit of fun. The fights I've been watching recently, Andy, I'll throw them in first. I watched for the first time Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. against Hector Camacho. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. The rematch between Mike McCallum and Sumbu Kalembe. Bit of a niche one here. Bruno Girard versus Lou Del Val. And the two fights between David Tua and Hasim Rahman. First one, a good fight.
Lou Del Val?
Second fight, not so good. Yep.
Lou Del Val, I think he's actually Badu Jack's trainer, I'm sure.
Is that right?
I'm pretty sure he is, aye. Fights I've been watching, I've watched a few fights, 5 or 6 fights. Samson Boy Dutch Gym, he goes under the name of Ty Marciano. I watched the first fight between James Toney and Mike McCallum. You need to watch that fight. That is the purest of the pure fucking chess matches with gloves on, by the way. Fucking tremendous. If you're into your technical fighting, that is a fight to watch.
Oh, that'd be my worst nightmare.
Oh my word, man! Try and score that fight. Fuck me.
Which one? The first one?
It's me though. Honestly, mate, as this, you can't get any better than this, mate. You know, I'm like you. I love a fight. I love to see fucking guys get torn in, but then there comes a time you just watch pure technicians go to work, and you just can't help but just sit there like, ah, fuck it. It's that type of fight you could easily throw your scorecard away and just watch the brilliance of it, because it is that fucking good.
Messi's just scored a free kick.
Fuck Messi. What else? Macho against Chavez. Steve, that must have been my recommendation, because I tweeted that fight out. All the Japanese kind of fights, some of the undercards. Antonio Margarito had 3 fights of his over New Year, because see what happens in Norway is because I didn't speak the language fluently, I've got to really think about, you know, when they're talking and stuff, I've got to really concentrate, and I just, once I got drinking, mate, I just start tuning out. So go out the hard drive. I watched Antonio Margarito against Paul Williams, Golden Johnson, and the rematch against Kim at Sintron. And I think that was it. Frampton against Kiko Martinez, the first fight.
Yeah, good fight. Good finish.
Yeah, I mean, that counter right hand on the back foot was fucking beautiful. It was a beautiful shot.
Steve, normally my casualness would show here, but I've been recording fights on The Nation and just watching them whenever the missus is out of the way. I watched
Hatton against McGee as well. That was the other one I watched.
Oh, really? Lomachenko Walters. Lomachenko Walters I watched again. I know it was only quite recent. I watched Lomachenko Martinez as well. I like how Lomachenko fights past people, if you see what I mean, or fights past them or round them or through them. I've done Cotto Canelo yesterday, and I've got Warren and Payano recorded. That's next on my list. I watched Brook Golovkin again for about the 15th time. I think that's the most watched fight I've ever watched. I know some of you guys have the go-to fights that you must have watched 50 times. I've not really got any like that. Even the Frotch ones, I'm not with that. But that Golovkin Brook, I just put that on all the time. What was the other? I watched the Fights of the Year, the Sky show they did. Obviously, it was just a matchroom rubbing, but I thought it was okay to try and kind of watch that and go over it. I very much enjoyed replaying the Buglioni Burton final round. I've enjoyed that. Yeah. And the Eggington Gavin fight, I've watched that 2 or 3 times as well. I've quite enjoyed that, but I'm more of the recent nature compared to bloody Chavez Senior.
Well, that's not too far away. It's only 20 odd years, Smido. But if you've been watching Box Nation a lot, you will have no doubt seen the endless repeats for some reason, day after day, of Robin Reed against Hassan Sharifi with the yellow gloves.
Fucking hell!
Is that in the Boxing Classics one?
Yeah, it's been on every day this week.
I watched the main ones that I watch. I think they're called main events, so it'll be like Cotto Canelo main event kind of thing. The Boxing Classics, that's the way they talk through it as the fight. You know, they chop and change, don't they, to the studio? I don't really watch that as much.
John Evans is on that.
To remember, isn't it? Isn't that a fight to remember?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe.
John Evans is on that one.
Yeah, I don't watch them fight to remembers, but I just watch the ones that they call main events.
Yeah. Hey, to Dave or Donnie, have you guys been watching anything on YouTube that the listeners might be interested in?
Yeah, I was watching Hearn versus Eubank.
I still need to watch it. See, the thing is, I didn't watch Eddie Hearn at all in interviews. I just didn't watch him. I read the comments on Twitter and stuff. There'll be the very, very rare occasion I'll maybe say that interests me. But this one with Eubank and that, I've got it saved. I'm going to have to go and watch it. But it's an hour long on. I think Hearn's an hour and a half, and fucking Eubank's an hour. So
yeah, you got to.
I need to do it in sections. I mean, I can only do Eubank would fry. See, boys, see anybody in death row, like Eubank walked in, you'd be fucking shouting for the guard to take you down to the fucking chair right there and then when he started speaking.
You got to jump to. I know the video you're talking about. You got to jump to about 25 minutes.
Yeah,
that story about Chris Eubank coming to Barry Hearn.
Aye,
price 60th. Yeah,
Barry Hearn, the fucking penis. What a penis that man is.
Yeah, no, but I mean, but Chris Eubank asked for an appearance fee to go to a birthday party after Barry Hearn was the best man at his wedding.
Yeah,
what a cunt.
Yeah.
Top trolling.
Yeah, I tell you what's worth watching. On the Showtime YouTube channel, they've got knockouts of the past 25 years.
I've seen that. You can get a vote on it as well. I've seen that as well. They had a vote
That's
on it as well.
Video. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Oh, I watched Riddick Bowe against Pierre Cortes and Edis Tatley's last fight as well. Edis Tatley.
I've
Finish.
decided, you see, Andy, I'm going to have to start watching. I've been watching more fights on YouTube, the likes of your McCallum and Calambes and all them type of boys, because I think one of the problems over the last few years why I've sort of fallen out of love with the sport is because I've been too entrenched in quantity rather than quality. So you go into these small hall shows and watching local guys smash Latvians about the ring for 4 rounds, you sort of forget that that's not what boxing's about. And then you watch a McCallum and Colombo and you see the jabbing, the feinting, the technical defensive work, and you realise just how good the sport can be. So I'm going for more the quality route this year.
How did you score that fight, just out of curiosity?
I didn't score it, Andy. You know what I'm like for
I was going to say, because I'm sure it was one of these fights we, back in the day in the 80s and that, used to get these, fights in Europe and you would get cards like 118, 115 and 116, 114. I'm sure it was one of those type of fights was going to score there.
It was in Italy and it was on Eurosport, and Ian Dark and Michael Watson were doing the commentary because Watson had just lost to McCallum, I think, and he was talking about a rematch. So it was really good.
I tweeted it out on New Year's morning actually. That Tony McCallum fight. I'm telling you guys, listen. I don't care what level or what knowledge you've got of the sport. You want to see two practitioners of the fucking pure science. I know boxing nowadays is more more science and sweet nowadays. But this was the sweet science at its fucking purest. By the way, get it watched because these guys were arguably in their primes. And you're talking about a middleweight.
McCallum was class, wasn't he? McCallum was brilliant.
Oh, I mean, you're talking also Tony, who was a middleweight, who basically at his peak his powers at this time.
They fought like 2 or 3 times, right?
3 times over 3 weights, I'm sure.
So which one are you talking about? The first?
First fight, mate. First fight.
First one. That was the one that McCallum thought he won.
Yeah, I think I had Tony just edging it by about a point or 2, I think. But honestly, the fight's could have went anyway. Either way, yeah.
Yeah, any McCallum fight, but don't watch the Roy Jones fight because he was about 42 then and up at light heavyweight. But light middleweight and middleweight, he was a joy to behold. Those body shots were beautiful. Right, we'll move on. Yeah, just finally, actually, this is the way my mind works. Yeah,
go ahead, Bellew of the week, or Bellew of the last 2 week nomination.
Nah, we'll no day Bellew this week.
We're not doing Bellew, but chuck it in anyway, Dave, because I like you.
Okay, it's for Donnie. It was about 16, 17 months ago, after Ronda Rousey was knocked out by Holly Holm. Donnie said Ronda Rousey will be back.
And she was. She came back.
She'll be back on the pies. She'll be back on that man's cock wanting his babies. And, she'll be suicidal, man. It's beautiful.
She was back for 48 seconds.
Look, you know what?
She got her ass lit right up.
Yeah, but I think she totally lost that intimidation factor that she used to have.
It was just like Mike Tyson, I think.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. When somebody proved that she was a mere mortal, it gave people the inducement to just come straight at her. And that's exactly what happened. And people didn't have that sort of cautiousness when they got in the ring with her anymore. And I think that's, that could be the end. I don't know. I hope she comes back. Actually, though, I mean, I know we're not supposed to be doing Bellew of the Weeks, but I found there was 2 things this week that I just found really funny. We don't have to do a whole segment. But one of them is,
Go ahead.
I don't know if you heard, Danny Jacobs has a new nutritionist. He's hired somebody to cook all of his meals. It's Chris Algieri.
Aye. Listen,
Yeah.
Jacobs, listen to me.
So Chris Algieri is, as you know, he's a college boy, and he graduated from college in Long Island in New York, and his degree was as a nutritionist, and he's very big into that.
And he failed to make weight against Pacquiao. Yep.
And then so anyways, I guess Jacobs was of the opinion, well, what better to have than a nutritionist boxer? So he hired her. And then also just the whole thing with Mayweather and Tyson training Chris Brown and Soulja Boy for a 4-round boxing match, which apparently is going to be on pay-per-view. I dare say I think it may sell out Eubank Jr.'s pay-per-view numbers. But
it'll be Chris Brown's first fight that's not against a woman.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
savage.
So Mike Tyson, there's a video of him talking to 50 Cent. I'm sorry, so 50 Cent is promoting it or something, or is backing Chris Brown. So Mike Tyson's talking to 50 Cent on the phone, and he's like, yo, Soldier Boy's gonna get fucked up. And so it's pretty funny, yeah. So I keep your eye on that if you're enjoy rap feuds and boxing together mixed. I think you might like this.
Sorry, Golovkin's got to see Jacob's fucking cracker biscuit chin. He's getting fucking destroyed. It's not even gonna last. It's not going to go past 5 rounds, man. People are talking about this fight like it's like the elite versus elite. It's a fucking. Honestly, God, if you reckon that Pirog was nothing special and he fucking checks that fucking biscuit chin, what's Golovkin going to do? He's going to ruin him. He's going to put him in the hospital, and it's not going to be nice to see.
I think he has a puncher's chance in this fight because he's very fast.
First of all, I mean, Golovkin can't.
Come on. Listen,
Yeah, but Golovkin can't just rush straight in at him though.
Yeah, of course not. But his chin's fucking solid, man. There's nothing Jacobs is going to bring. Listen, Golovkin's chin's only going to get checked when he goes up in weight. There's nobody at middleweight with the power to fucking even dent that fucking chin. The chin's solid, but
I'm not convinced of that.
Jacobs fucking crackers is getting absolutely ruined.
I think if Stevens didn't hurt. I mean, Stevens hit him with some big punches a couple of times. I mean, not with any consistency enough, but I mean, he did hit him with some huge shots, and yeah, it didn't really shake him. And Stevens is one of the biggest punchers at that weight, so I mean, you have a point there, but he's gonna have to approach him cautiously and break him down. It may end up like a Stevens fight. Like, I don't know, I remember if that was stopped in the 7th or 8th, but like a mid-round stoppage type of, mid to late. But I think that Jacobs has very good movement, and he's going to hit and move, and I think he can string it out for a while and maybe even win some rounds. But I think eventually Golovkin will get to him. But I mean, yeah, that's going to be a good one.
So Andy, I take it that Golovkin against Jacobs isn't the fight of 2017 that's been made that you're looking forward to most?
No, mate. I mean, as I say, it's a decent fight against a guy who is de facto number one as such. We've got a lineal champ. It's bullshit, I know. Shit. Jacobs has been, I mean, okay, he knocked out Peter Quillen, but Quillen, white chocolate or fake chocolate is not a man I rate as a fucking boxer. He's at it. Jacobs, his best opponent, God bless him, his best opponent is cancer. He beat it, okay? So if he can beat cancer, he could probably beat Triple G, but his chin's no there. He's not got the chin to beat Triple G. Triple G will basically eat up what he's got to give him and just fucking come back and just destroy him. It'll just destroy him within 3-4 rounds.
What is the fight then? What are you looking forward to most?
Oh, mate, listen, I've got lists gone down to fucking 112, so I'll just rattle them off. Right, I've got AJ against Vladimir Klitschko, great fight. Wilder against the winner, I want to see that. Ward Stevenson or against Kovalev. Beterbiev against Kovalev or Stevenson. One, as I say, is 168. I'm not fussed after DeGale Jack. 160, it's the land of the pussy, really. Nobody wants to fight Triple G. So we'll leave it at that. 154 is getting utter wank. You've got 2 fighters or 2 belt holders who'll just want to fight each other. Andrade, who doesn't seem to want to fight whatsoever. Cam Brook, hopefully. Garcia Thurman's coming up. That's good stuff. Crawford maybe move up in weight to 147 to fight Spence. That's a wish list fight. Loma against Corrales, Salido or Vargas. 126. Frampton against Selby or Valdas. 122. Rigo against anyone. I think he's fighting. What's that guy's name again?
Moses.
Moses, or something like that. Yamanaka against Inoue at 118. Gonzalez against Inoue, Estrada or Kudras. And then finally at 112, Ioka against Nietes, or Donny Nietes. Domestically, I want to see Anthony Yard against Frank Buglione. BJ Saunders against Eubank. Liam Smith against Liam Williams. And Josh Taylor against O'Hara Davis.
And give us, Andy, a fighter to look out for. A prospect, a belt holder, someone obscure, whatever you want.
I'll get a couple. Andrew Selby, Josh Taylor. I'm going to throw Liam Williams in there as well. Mick Conlon. Mark Magzayo, the Filipino kid who just knocked out Chris Avalos. Diego Haiga. And probably the Lithuanian fighter. I'll try and get this right. Edgis Kavaliauskas. I think he's 28, he's for Lithuania. I think he's 2-time Olympian and he's a world bronze medalist back in 2011. I think he beat off Fred Evans, the Welshman, so want to look out for his currently 15-year-old with 12 knockouts. He's 28-year-old, so he's going to get a push on.
Yeah, a couple of fighters that I was being told a lot about, and I watched both of them on YouTube. Smido wasn't that impressed with either. Mario Barrios and Sergei Lipinets wasn't really that fussed on either of them. Yeah, first of all,
Sergey Divachenko as well. Put him in that list.
Devchenko as well. We'll add him. Smido, fights of 2017 that you're looking forward to, and ones that haven't yet been made that you would like to see made.
I think, to be fair, it's been a while since we've had so many decent fights signed at such an early period. I mean, we've got Joshua Crawler, McDonald already signed there for world titles. A couple of biggies in there, and then we've across the pond, Al's done a decent job. Alan Showtime have got quite a few signed up as well, so that's good. My general wish list, I'm not one for prospects. I'm not hardcore enough for that. My general wish list is varied, really. I want to see, we've been over it, but I want to see Gonzalez in UA. That I would get on a plane for that. There's not many fights that would make me say that nowadays. I want to see Tyson Fury back in the ring. I want to see Paul Smith retired via a KO. I think we'll see Callum Smith knocked down or knock out by a hook. I'm quite confident on that. I think I want to see Nathan Cleverly in more entertaining fights. I want to see Terry Flanagan do something meaningful. I want to see BT do well. I want to see the Eubanks fall on their arse. What else was on my list? I want to see Golovkin Canelo. Better BF knockout Adonis. And yeah, I think there's quite a few things to look forward to. I want to see Deontay Wilder fight an Englishman. I don't care which one, except not Hughie Fury, but any of the others. I think that I want to see Deontay Wilder active and fighting someone good. Last year could have been the year for that, but Povetkin can't be trusted to be clean. I want to see more clean boxers, or I want to see more dirty boxers getting caught and rightfully punished. And I want to get to the end of the year, and I want to still be breathing come December the 31st.
Excellent stuff. Donnie, one of my wishes for 2017 is your happiness. What would make you happy?
Well, thank you, Steve. Actually, I think it's really all been covered. To me, the obvious one for I'll just confine it to the actual question that you asked, which was the one that's already been made that I'm most looking forward to, and that has to be Joshua versus Klitschko. This tells us a lot. It tells us where Joshua is. It serves as a measuring stick so that when Fury eventually does come back, if Joshua can stop him, whereas Fury only beat him by decision, then that's going to make that fight so much bigger. Even because Tyson Fury will have the lineage because he beat him first and everything. So, and it also tells us does Vlad still have anything left? Was the Fury fight a fluke? I still think that Vlad still has something left to give, and maybe the year off maybe wouldn't be so bad for him. As he's aging. Actually, I mean, it's only a year, and he's always kept himself in tremendous physical
I think it's significantly more than a year, to be honest.
Well, okay, yeah, but I guess what I'm saying, yeah, you're right, but I guess he's always been the type that has kept himself in tremendous physical condition and has always stayed around the gym. So I'm not really worried about that. I think that fight really is everything, and I'm not even necessarily sure that if Vlad does win, that he'll necessarily retire. There may be a huge rematch sitting out there if it's a close fight. So I'm most looking forward to that one in terms of fights that are already made. In terms of what isn't already made, I think the Kovalev Ward rematch. It isn't made yet. It's supposed to happen contractually, but contracts like promises are made to be broken. And we know that Ward is no sissy when it comes to fighting things out in
spoken like a true lawyer, Donnie. Sorry to interrupt. Just spoken like a true lawyer.
Yeah, yeah. We know that he's quite fond of fighting things out in the courtroom, even more than fighting in the ring. So I don't think he'll be very bashful about doing that. But I hope that it doesn't come to that, and I hope that fight gets made. Because that was clearly, I think, in terms of the quality of the fight. I mean, that wasn't fight of the year or anything, but in terms of the quality of the matchup, pound for pound status of both fighters and the fight that they gave us, I think was clearly the best fight of last year. And even if it didn't sell so well on pay-per-view, it was worth it. I bought it, and it was worth every penny to me. I loved the fight, and I can't wait till they do it again.
So that's the one that isn't made that I most want to see. And also, of course, Golovkin, Canelo, but that goes without saying.
Hey, to Dave, final words to you. Who should we be looking out for, and more importantly, what fights are you buzzing
Oh,
for?
wait, I'm sorry. Can I just throw my 2 prospects?
Oh, go on then.
Oh, sorry. Erickson Lubin and Jared Hurd.
Yeah, I've heard about that, Jared Hurd.
Yep.
I'm not gonna put any prospects forward because then I'll just end up cursing them and they're gonna fall flat. I hope that Donnie has not already cursed Jared Hurd like he did Seth Mitchell. But I hope that my guy Tyson Fury comes back. Is that picture that he's got on his Twitter now like recent? Like he's in damn good shape and
legit and recent, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome because he's taking it serious again. That's what that means. So yeah, I'm hoping he comes back. I believe he can. I think he can beat any heavyweight out there right now. I think Wilder might be his toughest test, just because of the styles. I think he could beat Ortiz real well because he's such a good mover. So hopefully he comes back. I'm looking forward to Thurman Garcia. Hopefully Garcia finally gets ended. But that's a close fight. It's a good fight. Looking forward to the fight I'm going to next weekend. Looking forward to Joshua Klitschko, which I would like to get everybody's picks on before we sign off, just at the beginning of the year, see where we stand now, where we stand later. And I am very much looking forward to, hopefully, in September, Canelo Golovkin, which better happen this September, or that little Mexican bitch is going to be forever remembered as a Mexican bitch who fucks around despite what he says. But yes, so give me your picks for Joshua versus Klitschko. I picked Joshua to stop him in 5 rounds.
Okay, right. Everyone, very briefly, because if you have to bail, Andy, you go first then.
I don't know. This fight is going to be on the fence for me till we get there, but I'm going with Klitschko just now.
Adam?
I don't think there's any circumstance where you can go with Klitschko at this stage. Just he was already on the downward spiral before Fury embarrassed him. He wasn't great against Jennings. He's now going to be 41 years old. I think he doesn't very often travel. I think he's travelling for the payday. He'll turn up in shape, but I think it's the payday, and I'm not sure if he'll get knocked out, but I think Joshua beats him. Yeah.
Donnie, I'm going Joshua round 8. I would really love to see Klitschko knock him out, and I'm rooting for Klitschko, but it's more heart over head stuff. I'm just going to have to say I think Joshua's probably going to knock him out for the reasons that Smido elaborated on. What do you think?
I think it'd be better for boxing, obviously, if Joshua won, and so I kind of hope that happens. But my head tells me that Vlad is not that far gone, and I'm going to take Vlad for right now. I may change my opinion later, but that's where I stand right now.
About 50-50.
How can we take Vlad? He packed up throwing punches. I know that Tyson Fury moves a lot more than
Styles, mate. Styles. Listen, Fury nullified everything he had to offer. He got frustrated when he even used the head. Joshua is stiffer than a porn star's cock. I promise you. If AJ fucking stands in the pocket just a fraction too long, right? Now people going to be, he couldn't pull the trigger. Klitschko's shot. He can't, but he's no fucking shot. He's just old, right? He's no.
Yeah, but the blueprint's there then for Joshua.
The blueprint's there, but AJ is no fucking Fury.
AJ can't execute that blueprint. That's
exactly.
Right.
AJ has not got the lateral movement. He's not got the bounce. He's just not got the jab, right? He is a stand in the pocket fighter. He pressures it. He comes forward. And this is the thing. I cannot wait. If Klitschko lands a shot right down the pike, he is shit balls. He's going to bam you on ice. I promise you, I guarantee you, if Klitschko can land that one shot, because I'm fucking sick and tired of people saying that he couldn't pull a trigger against Fury. Of course he couldn't. Fury wouldn't stand fucking still long enough to fucking let him get set to throw a fucking punch. Joshua will stand long enough to let a punch get landed. I guarantee it.
And I mean, look at the likes of Dillian White shook him up, right? And he was lucky that was at the end of the round.
He's lucky that White was actually fucking hurt at that point, because if White had, I'm not saying he's great in that, but if White hadn't been hurt up to that point and he could follow up with a good attack, measured, You know, just because he was hurt, he's just basically swinging for the fences. If he had maybe more composure, probably different story. But I'm not going to say he would have knocked him out because White's not all that great. Klitschko, on the other hand, you're talking about a guy here who has got an abundance of experience, right? He knows how to win fights, ugly or no, it doesn't really matter. AJ hasn't faced this type of beast before, right? And you got to give it to him now. At the minute, AJ is untested, we all know this, and we all think, or the vast majority think, that Vladimir has passed the point of no return. So, you know, that makes it 50-50 in my opinion, and I think...
Yeah, and also too, I mean, you got the thing is, Vlad's a very heavy puncher. No matter what anybody says about him, and the power is the last thing to go. I mean, you know, he blinds him with that telephone pole jab, and delivers one right hand, like you said, right down the pipe. I mean, we're really gonna find out what AJ is made of. I'm not saying that AJ is not gonna win. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying that anybody who's just counting Vlad out as old and shot is totally, in my opinion. I think that Vlad is very dangerous, even at age 41.
I wonder though, Donnie, about Joshua's chin. I do worry about it. You know, I think it can be hurt, but do you think he could have that sort of big fight adrenaline syndrome where we see him taking some flush bombs from Klitschko and walking right through them? It happens in fights, you know, and you say, "Whoa, I didn't think he could take those shots." Like, remember Ricky Hatton taking them against you and he wasn't hurt. And I'm trying to think of other examples, but I mean, Fury got through the Klitschko fight without even being hurt once. And look for examples here, but sometimes you see the guys and they go in and you think that they're going to be hurt once they catch the shots. They take a few flush ones and they just walk right through them. But that big fight adrenaline's pumping.
Like Carl Froch in like every fight.
Yeah.
Possibly. Anyway,
I'm pumped for how excited we all are over heavyweight boxing, and it's awesome. I mean, the one thing. How mad are we going to be if Vlad gets an injury or something and then this bullshit gets canceled?
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I think if this is the fight that Adam should have made his bet on, the fight not going the distance, because I think
thank you.
No, that's for real. This one is going to end within the first 6, I think.
Right. Well, that's going to end in the first 6. This is ending in the last quarter. I'm getting the maths all over the place here. I hope there's nothing else that anyone wants to talk about because we're jacking and out of here, boys. We'll be back next week to talk about DeGale and Badu Jack to preview any fights for the following week. And then the week after that, we've got Frampton Santa Cruz coming up. I'm looking forward to that. At the end
Come on, Carlos, get that wee Mexican fucking paedophile looking prick.
Are you going, Steve?
I'm going to that one. So yeah, I'm going. Yeah.
You going to Vegas, baby?
Yeah, I'm going.
Oh, fuck's sake.
So
you hosting the pod that weekend?
Hey, you're gonna have to do Andy. Oh, will you host the pod that weekend, Andy?
What date is that?
29th.
I'll do it if Andy won't.
Or I might be away that weekend, I think.
Oh, for fuck's sake, we're bailing. Steve, are you really going to be actually enthralled by the Vegas nightlife that you're going to be out on the streets under that debauchery and all that other shit? Rather than sit in your hotel room with great Wi-Fi and host a podcast. Is that what you're telling me?
It depends, Andy. If I end up in the same kind of establishment as I was in New York, it could be touch and go.
Aye, fucking aye.
Steve's going to buy some transsexual hookers.
You need to get your priorities right. I came on the pod from inside the New York Jets stadium, so you need to get your priorities right.
Well, he also came on the pod after Groves Froch 2 at Wembley Stadium in front of 80,000, give or take a few thousand.
I did, yeah.
That's right. Smido was pulled over into hard shoulders to talk to us.
Yep.
Right, thanks very much, guys. I'd just like to say to the listeners at the end, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, like the Facebook page. And also, we're into January 2017, and up throughout the whole month of January, nothing less than 5 stars is acceptable. If you leave us an iTunes review, give us some grief if you want, we don't care, that would be fantastic. I'd like to thank everyone who jumped on tonight. Adam Smido Smith giving us some great insight as usual. Dave the Hater Lowback, Donny Baseball, Andy Patterson, Ryan Scalia was on as well, and Marcus Bellinger was here in spirit, if nothing else. We'll speak to you next week, guys. Thank you. Bye.
2017 return of the